This is a GR86, and over the last couple months I made these two other videos about this car. Now a lot of the details in these videos have been rumors and he said, she said, so we've been wanting confirmation. And today, June 2nd, Toyota finally gave us that confirmation. They had their 2021 showroom live stream this morning. I sat through it. It was very cool. They released and talked about the future of Toyota, where they want to go over the next few years, and they talked about some cool cars. One of which being a carbon fiber Supra, which I'm going to make a video on in a couple of days. But today's video is about the GR86 and what we finally know about it. Finally! So let's start with some specs on the car. We're gonna have a boxer motor, of course, 2.4 liter, 228 horsepower on 184 foot-pound of torque. Now all of that is fine and dandy, but somebody at Toyota's campus that was there during the release asked the question. They said, if you compared this new generation 86 to the previous generation 86, what would you notice? The presenter, Toyota's VP of marketing here in North America, Mike Tripp, basically said this. He said, compared to the previous generation, you're going to see a huge increase in torque feel. Now, the previous generation, you were seeing peak torque 2,700 RPM later in the power band than this new generation. We're seeing peak torque at 3,700 RPM in this new generation. He also said, because the chassis is 50% more rigid than the previous generation, you are going to feel that when you're driving the car. Mike Tripp also pointed something out that comes at zero cost to you. Absolutely destroying that subscribe button down below. Now, that question got the wheels turning for somebody else in the audience who asked the following question. Subaru is coming out with the BRZ, a very similar, almost identical variant to the 86. If you were to drive the two of them back to back, would they feel different? What would you feel differently in the 86 compared to the BRZ? And Mike Tripp said the two cars are very similar, but you would notice a difference in the 86. He said it's in the tuning difference. Even though the two companies are making these cars side by side and they're very similar, they're going to do things slightly differently, and that's what Mike was pointing at. He said that because of the 86's specific tuning differences, you would feel a difference if you drove the two cars back to back, and he recommended it. He said that the 86 has that classic Toyota driver's feel. Now, I'm curious to see how much of that difference is noticeable if you drive an 86 back to back with the new BRZ. There were some rumors that Akio Toyota did not want the 86 to be too similar to the BRZ, and that's what they tried to deliver on. Somebody asked another question at Toyota's headquarters that I thought was also very interesting, because I'm a Spoolie Boy supporter, so I always want a turbo on absolutely everything. And one of the people asked, because there's been a lot of interest in this car, why didn't they just go with a turbo platform in the 86? And Mike Tripp basically said that that would ruin the lineup. Now, how they have this lineup set up is they have the 86 at the bottom, then they have the 2.0 turbo Supra, then they have the big old 3.0 liter Supra. He said if he ends up turboing the 86 at the bottom of the lineup, then that kind of ruins the hierarchy. He also said it would make the car more complicated, have more cost, and it would end up costing the end user more. They want to keep the price of this 86 down as low as possible. I am so glad that guy asked that question, because I wondered that, and it completely makes sense. I guess I just never thought about it, because the 2.0 Supra basically doesn't exist to me. I immediately go to the 3.0 one because that's the one I would want to buy. So now some other specs on the car. We are going to see a 6-speed auto and a 6-speed manual. I don't know why any of you would buy the auto. Just go buy the manual. This is supposed to be a cheap, fun driver's car, and it's hard to have that sort of fun if you're not getting the manual. The 86 is also going to have two trim levels, the base and the premium. Now, they didn't speak too much about the differences between each, but they did say the premium edition will have a lot of Alcantara. Had to adjust the lighting a little bit. It got a little too bright in here, but we're also going to see redesigned seats. Back seats are going to fold flat, and we're going to see a 0 to 60 time right around 6 seconds. Now, my biggest question was, what's it going to cost us? What's the MSRP going to be? What's the base going to cost? What's the premium going to cost? And they said, not available. They basically said later this year, we should get more information on pricing, but it's going to be priced just right for the market. They seem to kind of keep repeating that phrase. So I guess we're gonna have to wait a little bit on the sticker price on the car. And finally, a couple confirmations just in the last video that I made. Aluminum roof, aluminum hood, aluminum fenders to try to keep the center of gravity down low and to keep the weight down. They're also including something cool. With the GR purchase, they are also including a 1-year Autosports membership, so you can really test out your car. It's cool that they're doing that. Now that's gonna be it for today. I'll see you guys on the next one. Smash that subscribe button.